Behind every Vogue cover, every red carpet kiss, and every flawless Instagram post lies a story we weren't supposed to hear until now. Because what if the biggest threat to Hailey Bieber's career is the man she married? Justin Bieber didn't just steal the spotlight, he might have dimmed it on purpose. From public shade to emotional sabotage, fans are asking a question that's been brewing for years. Is this love or career destruction in disguise? This is Elle. If you're new, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. You can also follow me on the Celebrity What If channel. I want to thank you all very much for your great and kind support.
We know what's next.
She waited her whole career for this moment. A solo Vogue cover, one of the biggest milestones in fashion, the kind that says you've made it. And then just like that, Justin Bieber turned it into a punchline. One Instagram caption, a joke about how he never believed she'd get there, and suddenly Hailey's spotlight dimmed under his shadow again. But this wasn't the first time, and it wouldn't be the last. Because behind the PDA, the curated couple selfies, and the public declarations of love, something darker is playing out. A pattern, one that fans are starting to call out in real time: emotional sabotage. So now people are asking the question no one ever dared say out loud: is Justin Bieber low-key sabotaging Hailey's career? And if so, why? What looked like a one-off moment of bad judgment quickly started to feel like part of a much bigger pattern. Fans began connecting the dots, and what they saw was not pretty. There was the time Justin shared a meme of a kid flipping the bird, captioned, "POV, me behind my girlfriend after she makes me mad." The girlfriend, of course, being Hailey, or that viral moment when she leaned in to kiss him and he literally recoiled on camera. Then there was the time he snapped, telling her not to touch him in front of fans, making her shrink in real time. These weren't isolated incidents. They were all public, all deliberate, and all chipped away at her dignity.
Guys, this is not funny. He's fucked up on drugs. Like, he is really fucked up. He's not even there. Like, her grabbing his face is not an intimate moment. She's trying to bring him back to the stage because he is literally completely in his head on drugs. Like, I don't think it's funny to be kikiing about how he hates his wife, who is probably suffering, watching him spiral into addiction publicly in front of everyone, has no resources because they're literally in a cult and losing all of their money. This is not funny. This is not funny. If we lose Justin Bieber, if you guys don't take this seriously until he ends up in the fucking hospital, like, nobody's gonna be laughing. It's not funny.
Even on the red carpet, where couples are supposed to show unity, Hailey often looked like the accessory to Justin's presence, not a partner. Fans picked up on it. They started calling it out. "Why does it always feel like he's embarrassed to be seen with her?" one tweet asked. Another said, "The man who's supposed to lift her up is the one bringing her down. Every slight, every joke at her expense, every time he made her feel small in front of millions. It wasn't just rude, it was calculated." And when you stack them all together, you start to wonder, is this just immaturity or is it something more intentional? At first, people chalked it up to bad humor, immaturity, maybe even a clueless husband who just doesn't get how important these moments are. But over time, the excuses started to wear thin. Because when someone repeatedly overshadows your success, humiliates you in public, and then plays it off as growth, or just being honest, it stops looking accidental and starts feeling strategic. Take the Vogue cover, for example. Hailey's career-defining moment, years in the making. A triumph over an industry that never really welcomed her. And what did Justin do? He made it about himself. He posted a confession about once telling her she'd never make the cover, then brushed it off with a "yikes I know, so mean," and called the post growth. But growth for who? Because for Hailey, it was a reminder of how little faith he had in her, and how eager he was to share that fact with the world. And when fans pushed back, when they called out his behavior, Justin didn't clarify or apologize. He just quietly changed the caption to a string of random emojis. No accountability, no ownership, just a digital shrug. Now put that next to the support he's shown other women, like Kendall Jenner. She lands her Vogue cover, and Justin instantly posts a heartfelt, "Congrats, Ken, you look beautiful." No drama, no confessions, just pure public praise. So why can't he give that to his own wife? It's this pattern that's raised the stakes, because this isn't just about emotional distance or lack of support. It's about the possibility that Justin, whether consciously or not, is making sure Hailey never shines too bright, that her big wins always come with a footnote, and that somehow, when she rises, he finds a way to pull her right back down. Long before she was Mrs. Bieber, Hailey was just Hailey Baldwin, the girl trying to carve out a space in a modeling world that never really rolled out the red carpet for her. Yes, she had the famous last name, but in fashion, that only gets you in the door, not on the runway. She was shorter than the industry standard, quieter than her supermodel peers, and always standing in the shadows of names like Kendall Jenner, Gigi Hadid, and Bella Hadid. Even when she landed campaigns or walked shows, there was always this underlying narrative that she wasn't quite enough. Hailey has opened up about how isolating it felt. While her friends were being praised as icons, she was being treated like an influencer who lucked into her gigs. People literally questioned whether she was a real model. Her path to credibility was long, exhausting, and full of rejection. She went through countless rounds of casting, reformulations, and rejections just to be taken seriously. Nothing about her rise was overnight. It was slow. It was humbling, and it was hard. That's what made the Vogue cover so significant. It wasn't just a fashion milestone. It was proof that she made it on her own terms. Her face, her name, her brand, no Bieber attached, just Hailey. But instead of celebrating her, the man closest to her turned the moment into a casual reminder that he never believed in her in the first place. And whether he meant it that way or not, the damage was already done. She fought for that spotlight, and he stole it in one post. What makes all of this even more glaring is how the people around Hailey, the ones who aren't married to her, are showing up louder, prouder, and more publicly than Justin ever seems to. When that Vogue cover finally dropped, her comments were filled with love. Kylie Jenner hyped her up. Kim Kardashian jumped in to cheer her on. Even Selena Gomez, yes, that's Selena, liked a Roadskin post featuring Hailey, an internet-shaking move that sent fans into a full frenzy. And yet, where was Justin? Off in his feelings, apparently. He didn't share a warm tribute. He didn't gush with pride. He didn't even say, congratulations. Instead, he took a trip down memory lane to remind the world that he once told Hailey she'd never make it. Then when that blew up in his face, he replaced the caption with random emojis, like a teenager dodging accountability. A shrug, a finger point, a tearful, smiley face. What does that even mean? The difference was jarring. While her industry peers were lifting her up, her husband was stuck in his own narrative, one where her win had to somehow reflect back on him. One viral tweet hit it best. The message he sent to the friend he hooked up with was more heartfelt than the one he gave his own wife. And fans noticed, because this wasn't just a one-time flub. It looked like a pattern, and a painful one. Hailey was finally getting what she'd worked for, and the one person who should have been her loudest cheerleader was acting like her biggest critic. Publicly, Justin might brush it all off as jokes or misunderstood captions, but behind the scenes, the chaos runs deeper. Insiders say the couple fights constantly, and when they do, Justin doesn't hold back. He hits where it hurts the most, her career. He questions her decisions, belittles her accomplishments, and tears her down in ways that leave lasting marks. Then, like clockwork, he apologizes. She forgives him, and the cycle resets. Big fight, big makeup, repeat. It's not just private tension either. Justin's been spiraling in public, and fans are starting to sound the alarm. There was that now infamous visit to Hailey's Road pop-up where Justin showed up rambling, hyper, and visibly off. People online speculated about everything from stress to substance use. Then came Coachella 2025, where he was caught on camera, possibly smoking weed while dancing aimlessly with his crew. Hailey, meanwhile, was seen quickly scooping up his younger brother and removing him from the scene, trying once again to do damage control in real time. But the most haunting image came later. After trying to lift Justin's spirits with a trip to Disneyland, literally the happiest place on earth, photos surfaced showing him looking vacant, checked out, emotionally gone. Hailey stood beside him, still trying, still holding it together, but the exhaustion on her face said everything. She's not just supporting a husband, she's managing a crisis. And through it all, she still has to show up for work, for her brand, for the cameras. She's building a skincare empire while her personal life unravels in high definition. And every time Justin crumbles publicly, it's Hailey who's expected to pick up the pieces, even when she's clearly breaking too. Up until now, most of the red flags have been emotional. Cruel jokes, dismissive moments, public coldness. But recently, a darker conversation has been bubbling beneath the surface. Because when you look at all these public moments of disrespect, you start to wonder what happens when the cameras aren't rolling. Let's rewind to 2017, Ecuador. Hailey was reportedly filming Justin on her phone. What should have been a normal, candid moment allegedly turned violent, fast. Witnesses claimed Justin grabbed her arms, pushed her, and made her fall to the ground. Other girls nearby said they were scared by how aggressive he got. And while that moment didn't make front page news at the time, it's resurfacing now in a much more chilling context. And it's not the only time. There's video footage of him snapping at her in Las Vegas, yelling, animated, storming ahead, while Hailey trailed behind silently. Fans called it a red flag. Others didn't hold back, labeling it classic abuser behavior. Love bombing in private, degradation in public. Another clip shows him slamming a car door in her face as she tries to get out, dismissive, cold, and caught on camera. At first, people laughed it off. That's just Justin being Justin. But now, fans are calling it what it really looks like. A pattern of humiliation. Public disrespect so blatant, some have gone as far as calling it a humiliation ritual. A twisted cycle where Justin builds her up in private, only to tear her down in front of the world. And what's haunting is how quiet Hailey has been through it all. She's never confirmed the rumors, never clapped back, but her silence is starting to speak volumes. Because how many times does someone have to be publicly degraded before we start believing what's happening behind closed doors? The public can only guess what's really going on behind closed doors. But from the outside, it's clear Hailey is reaching a breaking point. For years, she's tried to keep things together. She's smiled through the scandals, defended her husband, and stayed silent through waves of criticism. But lately, something's shifted. Insiders say she's been quietly pulling back from the fashion world, skipping shows, turning down campaigns, and focusing more on her skincare brand, Rhode. It's not hard to connect the dots, because how can you keep showing up in the spotlight when someone keeps dimming it? Being a model means being visible, being celebrated. But Hailey's visibility has come at a cost. Every time she steps into her own power, it's followed by some drama, some moment where Justin reminds the world that she's not the only star in the room. And it's exhausting. Even her own words reveal the toll it's taken. "I'm fragile. I'm insecure," she admitted. "I've had more days than I can count where I've scrolled Instagram comparing myself to everyone else." That raw honesty came right after Justin posted a cryptic video of himself crying, fueling rumors that the emotional chaos had hit another boiling point. Some fans even claim the tears were tied to something even more serious. Whispers of a pregnancy Justin wasn't ready for. If that's true, the emotional weight on Hailey's shoulders is even heavier than anyone thought. The pressure, the instability, the constant sense that her most intimate moments could be weaponized or overshadowed in a heartbeat. It's no longer just about career. This is survival. Emotional, professional, and maybe even physical. And the question hanging in the air now isn't just, will she stay, but should she? So now we're left with a question that's impossible to ignore. Is this love or is it sabotage disguised as support? Because when you zoom out and really look at the pattern, the ignored milestones, the backhanded captions, the public humiliation, the emotional outbursts, the rumors, the silence during her biggest moments, a narrative starts to write itself. And it's not a love story, it's a warning. Maybe Justin doesn't even realize what he's doing. Maybe it's his own shame, insecurity, and trauma boiling over. He's admitted before that compliments make him feel like a fraud. That when he's low, his instinct is to tear other people down. But even if it's unintentional, the result is the same. Hailey's light keeps getting dimmed by the person who's supposed to be her biggest source of brightness. And the worst part, she keeps taking it, keeps forgiving, keeps standing beside him while the world watches her shrink. It's not just sad, it's infuriating, because you can only be overlooked, minimized, and emotionally drained for so long before something snaps. And if it hasn't yet, it might soon. This isn't just a bad relationship. It's emotional erosion. Slow, subtle, and deadly to the soul. So here's the mic drop. Sometimes the person who says they love you the most is the one holding you back the hardest. And if that's the case, then what happens next? If you've made it this far, you already know. This isn't just some messy celebrity relationship. This is a slow unraveling, playing out in real time with millions of people watching and staying silent. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think Justin is unintentionally sabotaging Hailey's career? Or is this something deeper, something darker? Is it possible to love someone and still be the reason they never reach their full potential? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're reading every single one. If this hit a nerve, if you've ever seen someone dim someone else's light and call it love, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe, because this story, it's still unfolding, and you'll want to be here when the truth finally breaks through.